Hey there, everybody. So, I just wanted to come on and create a little video on intuitive painting and what that means and how to get started on it. So, first of all, I'm going to show you watercolor and then I'm going to show you some acrylics too, because you can do this with either or. The big thing is you're going to come into your intuitive painting with your presence, and it's a meditative practice. And so come in with an intention that you want to hold. So maybe there's something you've been journaling about, or something that you're trying to work through, or that you are it's coming up as a theme for you. This week, I had a theme coming up of I am sovereign, that I get to choose what it is that I want to create, and I don't need anyone's permission for that. So, first of all, I light a candle. So I'm just going to set that up here, and I have my crystals or any, my Metatron cube symbol, anything that you want to set up around you to bring yourself into that beautiful sacred space of your time. This is your time. I have some water, my paintbrushes. This is my art journal. And I have some of my watercolor paints here. So you can use any paints you want. I'm using my Brusho Crystal, and I'm going to stick with turquoise and yellow today. So this is the crystals that I have put into the tray and added some water. And I'm going to keep my turquoise handy, and maybe I'll grab my yellow also to have it handy so that I can do a little fun sprinkling. Just got to find it here. It's always the last one you choose when you're going through here. Emerald green, yep, it's definitely, that's orange. Let's see, I thought I had a yellow too. Scarlet. Yellow. There it is. It was exactly the very last one. Okay, and then you can choose some brushes, and whatever brushes you want are totally fine. I'm actually going to use a soft round brush here. I also put on some really nice music. Okay, so music is a big part of intuitive painting, I feel. It really sets the mood. So I'm going to write on here, I am sovereign, meaning I make my own decisions, right? I choose what I want to create because I said so. Period. This is a Sharpie that is permanent. Now, you don't have to write anything on your page. You maybe did some journaling about it. I know I did a lot of journaling about this. And I'm just going to start with my yellow, and I just get to play. And so it's not about creating anything in particular. You just have your music on and it's quiet. And you can paint shapes, blobs. You can just decide to watch the paint play around. Now, the reason I'm choosing just two colors is you could choose as many as you wanted, but if painting is fairly new for you, you want to be choosing two colors that aren't going to create mud. Okay, so yellow and turquoise will give me green. Okay, so we have on the color wheel, we have our primary colors of red, blue, and yellow. And then our tertiary colors are the colors that we get when we start blending those. So red and blue give us purple, blue and yellow give us green, and yellow and red give us orange. And so as you go around the color wheel, you'll see that there's like, you can have red orange, you could have, you know, blue green, you could have violet red or violet blue, right? So when you get your purples, it could either be blue or more red, a warm purple or a cooler purple. And if you mix colors that are on the opposite ends of the color wheel, the opposite side, so if my tray was a color wheel, so to speak, if I have yellow here and opposite is purple, and purple and yellow mixed together will make mud or brown, right? And so you want to make sure that when you look at a color wheel, you're not choosing colors that are opposite each other unless the one is dry on your canvas already. Opposite colors are absolutely beautiful together. They make each other pop. And like when you put, you know, purple beside yellow, it just pops the yellow out and the purple looks rich. It's gorgeous, but you need to be careful on how you do it so that they don't blend and make mud. So I'm going to switch to some blue just for some fun. Oh, got some drips. That's fun. And at some point, you start to get lost in the play. I'm going to squirt my page. See what happens. Take a little bit of my crystals and just Just do whatever you feel like doing. You might choose to do some outlining. And I have a lot of water on this. It's going to take a while to dry. That's okay. I love the patterns and colors that are coming up here. You know, this might be a little overdone, but um, I think I'm just gonna let it dry this way because I want to see how it looks when it's dry. And so intuitive painting doesn't have to take very long at all. And when you stop and you look at it, it's like, oh, what do you see in there? Are there messages? Are there symbols? Are there shapes that are there to remind you? Because when you sit down in a meditative state to do your painting, your paper becomes a portal, a gateway into another dimension, and is there uh, to allow you to bring the messages through. And so when I look at this, I'm seeing some beautiful flowing colors, and I almost see a face in here, a heart, right? And some really cool, looks like vines growing, right? So I'm going to let it dry and be able to look at it afterwards. And then I could probably even go back to my journal and just say, what does that mean for me? What does all the vines mean for me? Well, growth, right? Letting go. Like when you let the plant just go wild and you don't trim it back at all, and it just gets that freedom to grow and expand on its own. And that's kind of the idea of being sovereign, is that I am not being contained at all. Okay, so I'm going to set that aside carefully. Oops. Oops. And it is dripping. And just give me 1 minute here to get it balanced so it dries. Everything happens for a reason, right? Okay, so now let's take a look at, well, how do I do intuitive painting with acrylic paints on a canvas? So I have a little canvas here. It's maybe 11 by 14. Same ideas. So I'm going to choose 3 colors that are what I would call analogous colors. So they are side by side on the color wheel. So maybe purple, blue, and green, right? Or I could choose yellow, red, and orange. So choose 3 colors, just 3 colors that are analogous, side by side on the color wheel, and some white. And we will begin with that. So let me grab, actually, I already have some paint here. Let me just, I'm going to grab this yellow, red, and orange and white here because I have some paint, so it'll use it up. And the same thing, I mean, you can write your intention on your canvas, which I often do. So I'm going to use, actually, I'm going to use this paintbrush. It's a little easier. And I'm going to put I am. I use the word sovereign for this because sovereign to me is you are whole and unto yourself, that you get to reign yourself, you get to govern over yourself. Too many times we feel like we have to ask for permission. So we tend to do that even as we're creating our dreams, is we still, even though we get to the point where we go, yeah, I get to choose, I have control over how my life looks, I take responsibility for that, but you may find yourself slipping into a pattern that a lot of people in the spiritual world fall into. And it's almost like you're looking to the universe for permission. You're looking to that higher source to give you a sign or permission that you're allowed to create this. And you absolutely need to gain your power back. That is giving your power away. The universe does not need you to do anything to get their approval. It's approval. You are loved just because you are here. It's like your child. Your child doesn't have to do anything. You love your child. And so we need to really remember that. We need to really remember that we are in control of our own lives, that we get to choose. And the universe just cares how you are doing it. Doesn't care how much good things you do. It's what is your intention behind it? How are you being, right? And so I am sovereign, and I declare that. And so this first layer is just about playing. So I'm just using a big brush here, and experiment with your brushes. Just put some paint down, make shapes until the paint runs out, and then make some more shapes. Get a feel for your brush. What happens when you take your brush sideways? What happens when you, dip half of your brush into one color and half into white or yellow? And what happens, right? And what happens if you start to blend them together? Which color dominates? And go right over top of your words, seal them in, and just play the music on. And fill the canvas up with colors, shapes. Try making stripes. Notice when, as you're playing with the paints, notice how far you can go before it all just starts blending into be one color. Maybe you like that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to keep them separate. Maybe you want to go back and forth with your painting. Maybe you want to make it smooth. Maybe you like it just patches of color. and just get into playing again as if you were a school child. Notice when you put some paint down, take another brush and scratch some designs through it. So I'm just using the end of my brush to create some patterns and designs. You can also take the color and just pat your brush and make a pattern. There's so many things around that you could create as a stencil. You could stencil it over. It's usually easier if your paint isn't wet first, but you could add stencils onto this. When this dries, you could add on some, stencils of patterns. Sometimes you can just take mesh fabric, paint it, stick it on, and get different patterns. So there's a lot of fun things you can do with acrylic paints because of the thickness of the paint. And that's where I would stop, is just when you feel like, oh, I've had enough, that's good. Then you can stop and let this layer dry. And then you could do another layer over top of it with perhaps the opposite colors. So maybe we'll do the blue, purple, and green on top of this and see what happens. And we leave little bits of these colors peeking through. Okay, so have fun with some intuitive painting, and I will see you guys later. Bye.